do you feel as a newly elected member, Republican Party, that the national media mischaracterized you and lumped you all as a group, if you will, as sort of renegades or Tea Partiers or whatever the label?
Sure, I've watched this for 6 months now, and there's a lot of interest in the 87 freshmen. The last time there was such a significant, I mean, this is the largest freshman class in a long time, and the last time that there was great significance in terms of philosophical change was 1994. So I think there's been a lot of media interest in this class. I also think that it's unfair to categorize any one class based on a portion of that class. I mean, we've got moderates, we've got conservatives, we've got social conservatives, we've got fiscal conservatives. But what I think we have that the media has not touched upon is 87 people who do want to focus on spending reductions, who want to focus on job creation, and who want to focus on debt reduction. I mean, all 87 of us want to focus on that. Unfortunately, I think what gets a lot of attention is when you have an argument on TV with a liberal and a conservative. And that is seen widely across the nation every single evening on different programs. And I've heard it when I come back to New Hampshire, this very simple question: why can't you get along? Why can't you compromise? Why can't you get results? And my response is the House of Representatives is doing the people's work. It passed a budget as it's constitutionally required to. We've passed the majority of our appropriations bills, and we'll complete them in September on time. We have waited and asked very politely and responsibly for the Senate to act on these pieces of legislation, because we don't want to go back into a continuing resolution fight again, which is about what we're going to do, simply because the Senate's not acting. So I think it's incumbent upon all of us, particularly the freshmen, to try to conduct themselves in a proper, respectful manner, whether we're here in our districts or whether we're back in Washington, and focus on substance and have that debate on the floor of the House. And we have. I've gone to the floor of the House and I've asked both Republicans and Democrats to focus on substance, to focus on public policy, and have that sort of Lincoln-Douglas-style debate on substance and on policy. And I think America would be engaged in that, because you're talking now about leaders in Washington who are at least debating the subject matter that the country wants you to focus on. The country may not always like the outcome, but at least it can be done in a more productive, respectable, statesman-like manner.
How do you plan to approach your re-election? What issues are you looking to highlight to voters? What are kind of your thoughts on the race coming up?
No different than I've always focused on that, which is you focus on your job. I've always felt that if you focus on your job and you execute your job with the level of responsiveness that people have come to expect, the high level of constituent service, the willingness to come back every weekend and listen to people of all political persuasions, and then when the election process begins, you say to people, here's how I have represented you. I believe it's within the value system of the state, and if you so desire, you've got all choices, and the best individual, or the one that you feel as constituents deserve to represent you, will represent you. And I think that's served anyone well who has approached it in that manner. And I've done that in the past, and that's the same way I'll approach it. Is I've got a 2-year term. Let me do everything I possibly can to represent, to the best of my ability, constituents of the 1st Congressional District, and then let them make their decision.
What are your thoughts? 2012 race, obviously here in New Hampshire, first in the nation. We've got all the candidates coming in and out of the state. Do you have any reflections on the candidates, how they've been campaigning here so far, and have any plans to make an endorsement? And if so, would you like to do it here today?
Well, I haven't actually decided who I plan to vote for. I think many Granite Staters, still want to see the candidates here firsthand, face-to-face in New Hampshire. The one thing I will say is this: I think we've got a great field of candidates. who of course are going to try to distinguish themselves amongst one another, but are going to primarily focus on the differences between their vision for America and what we've seen from our president over the last 2.5 years. I think you're going to see two very, very different plans, two very different visions. I think Republicans are going to talk largely about the economy and jobs and how they can finally put a plan in place if elected that will be successful compared to what President Obama has tried but unfortunately failed to accomplish. I think you'll see a lot about limited government, effective government, and the role of government. I think you'll see a lot of constitutionality issues being discussed. But I haven't had a chance to even meet every single candidate yet. Like I think many Granite Staters, want to see the candidates continue to come to New Hampshire, and as they do, I'm going to continue to go to events and functions and meet with them. And I may make an endorsement at some point. I haven't really decided yet, but for now, I'm just enjoying having them all come up to New Hampshire and articulate sensible plans and sensible actions for the future of our country.